Sir Estinian is every bit as elusive as Urianger suggested.
No sign of him. Not that I've ever met him before, but the way Alphino goes on about him, I'm fairly sure I could pick him out in a crowd.
Speaking of which, it does seem awfully quiet. If the erstwhile Azure Dragoon had returned to Ishgard, would it not be a source of general excitement?
First the Scion's Coinkeeper, and now you. I'm beginning to think these meetings are more than mere coincidence. Not that I'm complaining. It's been too long.
Too long?
You look an ilm taller and twice as rugged. It suits you, Alphino. Quieter, though. Have you been giving him lessons on how to be the strong, silent type?
I am not Alphino! If the two of you are such firm friends, perhaps you should remember what he looks like. And what do you mean, rugged? Ugh! Had my brother mentioned what an oaf you are, I'd never have bothered looking for you in the first place.
Estinian Wormblood, the Azure Dragoon. He who fought and felled the dread worm Nidhogg at the Warrior of Light's side. To think the day would come when I should see this living legend with my own eyes.
Would someone mind explaining what is going on?
Is everything all right? I thought I heard Alize shouting. Estinian! It's been too long. No, it's quite understandable. That was hardly the first time we've been confused for one another. Nor, I suspect, will it be the last.
Well, I, for one, will not be making that mistake again. What I will say, for the second time today, is that you've grown. Inside and out. I can tell.
One can't remain a spoiled little lordling forever, you know.
At least someone's having a good time. You know, when we were growing up, Alphino would never befriend other boys because he couldn't stand the thought of not being in charge. But maybe that's changed. He seems just as happy around Estinian as he does Arenvald.
Perhaps he sees them as the brothers he never had. I think he learned how to talk with people rather than at them. Well, you can't keep them all to yourself forever. Ooh, they're very interesting. Like, all of those are interesting choices. I want to say that the middle answer is the one that I would like to say, but I want to say that because I feel like it'll fluster her.
Keep him to my... You're joking, aren't you? I'd be glad if someone would take him off my hands.
Yeah.
No rest for the righteous, eh? Speaking of which, I was just on my way to borrow an airship to take me to Azisla.
Azisla? How could I forget? The dragon with whom Bahamut shared the deepest of bonds.
Aye, Tiamat, his mate. Even now she remains imprisoned on Azizla, though her remorse binds her faster than any shackle.
I see. As the one who first summoned Bahamut, you believe she may be able to shine some light on his latest incarnation.
Might I suggest that we make the journey to Azizla together? I'm not sure if Tataru mentioned this, but we Scions have an airship of our own now.
I see no reason why not. Assuming your sister can bear the thought of sharing a deck with me.
Be my guest. But confuse me with Alphino again and I'll throw you overboard.
He'd land on his feet.
Ugh! I don't know who he thinks he is, but he's nothing like Alphino painted him to be.
I will admit, he is not exactly as I imagined him either. Based on what I had read of the man, I think I was expecting someone a little less blunt?
King Azizla. Tiamat summoned Bahamut once before. She may have again, willingly or no. So this is the Delta Quadrant, where countless dragons yet lie imprisoned, the great Tiamat among them. Not to complain, but I didn't expect to find myself here again quite so soon. It has been quite some time since last I set foot in Azizla, but I understand the three of you were here rather more recently. I don't suppose you chanced to meet with Tiamat during your visit? Alas not. We had no cause to set foot here in the Delta Quadrant. But I have studied the relevant records, which is to say I wouldn't appreciate... which is not to say I wouldn't appreciate a first-hand account of your dealings with her. Well then, Alex is the person to ask. As far as I know, he's the only one of us to have met Tiamat face to face. A couple of times too. Even now she remains a prisoner of the Algan Empire. Let's just say it helped that Midgard Soma was there to introduce me. Yeah, let's go with that. Ah yes, you were a friend of her father. I too have met with Tiamat. After the Dragonsong War came to a close, I came here to speak with her, a worm who had fought her own war against man in another age. I wished to know if she yet harbored thoughts of vengeance, and asked as much. She said no. My hatred for your kind was extinguished long ago. But the guilt she felt for resurrecting Bahamut burns on undimmed. It torments her, even now. I see. Then your original reason for coming here was out of concern that Tiamat had been forced to summon Bahamut. Nidhogg is a part of me. I feel his emotions as my own. And I know that he would not allow his sister to be made a tool of evil. In his absence, it falls to me to watch over her. Pizza! Our grandfather sacrificed everything to protect the realm from Bahamut. We must be prepared to do the same. The Azure Dragoon of history were the mortal enemies of dragons, yet now they would be hard-pressed to find a soul who understood them better. It was the Ascians who taught Tiamat the secrets of summoning, even as they supplied the Allicans with the means to capture primals. So much suffering, and all of it by design. Righteous indignation. Estinian is ready to lead the way to Tiamat. Tiamat awaits. This way. To think that man is responsible for all of this, and so much else that dragonkind has suffered. Resigned to her fate though she may be, I cannot help but feel that we may be able to help Tiamat, would she only let us. So this is one of the 7 great worms. Even thus confined, her presence is overwhelming.
It's plain she knows naught of recent events. Perhaps you should enlighten her.
I've seen it with my own eyes. Captives of a lost empire, neither alive nor dead, existing only to preserve Bahamut's corporeal form.
Your children's pain means nothing to them. They laugh at your kind suffering. But tears will not right this wrong, nor will lamentation see the perpetrators punished.
Snosk anta in Dramon.
Behavior befitting a great worm. We came here to ask mighty Tiamat of the First Brood, consort of Bahamut, mother of the dragons of Mericidia, what she intends to do about the crimes committed against her children.
Santalan infan antosk. Goes and on. Ale o es an in. Ale kum ak in.
You too were exposed to his influence. That you are yet in possession of your own will is testament to the indomitable strength of your soul. But were you to meet with Bahamut again, you fear you might succumb.
Es snoska dramon kin. Nestra in. Illes I. Nesh an. Ant ala. Unmik Nalstra ul an Antal an Smon Tahi an.
On the matter of Bahamut's influence, at least, I believe we can be of some assistance. If you're afraid of being enthralled, don't be. We have a cure. And while we've never tried it on one such as you, its basic principles are universal.
Osk she's in.
There is no future for those bound to the past. That you committed a terrible sin, I do not dispute. But if you feel remorse, you may yet make amends. We offer you that chance. Take it, or you will forever remain a prisoner, not of these cruel shackles, but of your own guilt.
Sahan. Seth Son. Kin Bahamut an. An sumon na an inles. Snaloles dish an. Na ala an ul an sin an stan in.
Well, that went well. It won't make up for what she suffered at the hands of men, but if there's a chance we can free her, truly free her, we owe it to her to try. I confess, my heart was in my throat when Estinian thought to berate her, but it appears to have had the desired effect. It would seem she has some pride after all. Let's see if she's as good as her word. While porksies have been shown to be effective in curing the tempered, Tiamat must be considered a special case. She is far, far larger and immeasurably more powerful than any subject treated thus far. Were we to remove her restraints only to find that the process had failed, we would be hard-pressed to contain her. Then, before going ahead, we should learn as much as we can about the exact nature of her condition. Do you suppose we can find that information here? Why, yes, we can. We can indeed. The Allegans kept detailed records on all of their notable captives, and I know exactly where to look. We shall leave that to you then. In the meantime, the rest of us can turn our thoughts to the removal of those shackles. I know Alphino and Alexander here well enough, but not you. Are you certain you're ready to see this through? Rest assured, Sir Stylian, that I am both ready and willing to give my all for the sake of this star. Though that is not my only reason for wanting to set Tiamat free. While I do not claim to know all of her sorrows, I too once found myself in a prison of despair, and I well understand how hard it can be to dare to dream of escape. It took the encouragement of braver souls than I am to make me take the first step towards a brighter future, and now I would help Tiamat do the same. I gather you are not as young as you look. Mayhap when our work here is done, we could trade tales over a pot of Tataru's famous tea? And be indebted to her for the leaves and hot water? I think not. I see. Returning swiftly to the task at hand then. I believe the nodes governing Tiamat's restraints are located in the sector known as the flagship. Ah yes, we are familiar with it. The Etherochemical Research Facility in particular. Oh, you may wish to take this, a spirit vessel, containing a small amount of my blood. Which you just happen to be carrying around with you. I suppose that could seem a bit rather odd. To explain, Rambrose, Urianger and I are researching the use of spirit vessels and the transference not only of memories, but the traits of certain bloodlines, and so I keep one at the ready should an opportunity to test our theories arise. As for its use to you, you may recall that during our previous visit, the nodes here granted access to restricted functions. Restricted to having identified me as being of royal blood and armed with a spirit vessel, I posit that they will do the same for you, even in the absence of, well, the rest of me. It seemed worth a try at least. Agreed. We will take good care of it. To the flagship then. It's possible the restraints may have mitigated the effects of the tempering, but Tiamat has been enthralled to Bahamut for thousands of years. To have clung on to her reason through it all says a lot for her strength of will. More than a lot. Alice and I shall remain here and attend to the necessary preparations. In the event that the spirit vessel fails to work as expected, you know where to find me. Good luck. I feel like outside of introducing that story thing, it would have made more sense for him to go and, as much as they would have hated it, Estinian to stay behind. I would rather leave these elegant contraptions to you and Alphino. Let us split up and search the flagship for the node that controls Tiamat's restraints. But should you find a likely candidate, do not attempt to make any adjustments. It would not do to accidentally release some manner of experimental monstrosity, nor less Tiamat herself in her current state. Our objective at this stage is simply to identify the relevant node or nodes. Once we have learned what we can, we should reconvene here and compare notes prior to proceeding. Friction between metallic components detected. Temperature increasing to critical levels. Please replace damaged parts or retreat to a safe distance. Beep boop. Warning. Scheduled dragon restraint maintenance due in -2021 years. Failure to verify system integrity may result in unscheduled specimen release. I mean, that sounds pretty handy to know. Ooh, Alphino. I realize I've said this before, and on more than one occasion, but I never cease to be amazed by elegant technology. Amazed and disturbed. That means that Estinian might be around here somewhere too. I don't see him. Data link with Delta Quadrant broken. Broken? Possible cause intruder interference. Advised deployment of automated combat units. Proceed. Infernal things. One of them sent a swarm of mechanical vilekin to plague me. I must have angered it. I'm afraid Estinian and I have little to show for our efforts. Did you find anything? I did. A node which smelled like burnt hair. I know the one. Though I thought the stench more akin to a fire in a manure shed, but it seemed likelier to explode than grant our wish. Surely there must be another. I found a way to activate mechanical sentries, if that's any help. Only if they're willing to lead us to the node we seek, which I somehow doubt. But from what I recall of the flagship's design, the node you found could facilitate communications through Azizla, or throughout, so we may yet find a use for it. Let's see what happens when you say no. Ah, fair enough. Yes, a chirping node which spontaneously warned me about neglecting the dragon restraints. Does that sound helpful? Spontaneously, you say? Well, that does sound promising. Almost suspiciously so, in fact. But then you were in possession of the spirit vessel. I dare say it is indeed the node of which Graha spoke. And it was chirping, you say? Very well, let's take a closer look.